8.5 weeks out from the Alberta Open, the road to Excalibur. But again, real talk. 8.5 weeks out. So deload is completely done. Diet break, completely done. I feel fucking amazing. I've never felt this good at 8.5 weeks out. I am now officially back down to the weight that I was prior to the deload that I went on. And so, you know, I started with a 24-week prep for that exact reason, knowing that I'll have time for diet break, for deload. Now, when you do that, typically you lose upwards of like 2 weeks worth of progress, because not only do you lose that week, the week following your deload week, you're also still full of glycogen, and your body is not primed to burn a ton of body fat when you are full of glycogen. You do need to be in more of that flat state to optimize it. You still will lose some fat, but not as much. So you essentially lose roughly 2 weeks worth of progress, which is great because I was ahead. And now I'm ready to just like fucking hone everything in. So with all of that being said, 8.5 weeks out, there's some drug protocol changes that are going in now. Clenbuterol and T3 have both been in for a few weeks now at 25 micrograms per day. Both of those are being increased to 50 micrograms per day. That's the first step. Next step, started adding Trenbolone in at this point. The goal is to be in a good calorie deficit with minimal amounts of cardio to try to make it so that I don't accumulate a ton of fatigue now that I'm feeling really good. And so with that, I do run risks of catabolism regardless. And so the Trenbolone, the properties that I get from that are going to help make sure I maintain more of my muscle mass as I go into a deeper deficit. Starting out really light, we're doing, what is that? 20 milligrams every other day is where we're starting. So essentially the minimum effective dose in humans. You'll start with that. I did about this much last year to make sure that my body responded well. I responded fine, and so I know that I can start with that and I can go up from there. As we get closer to peak week, you know, depending on how things go, Trenbolone will be most likely being increased. As we get closer, Clenbuterol, I also have room for that to go up. T3 will probably remain at 50 micrograms. It isn't one of those things where you need to take T3 and your body starts to get used to it, not like with Clenbuterol or like a Yohimbine. So that's where we're at right now. We're gonna get into the workout though, so we get some of this shit rolling, and then we'll start talking about some food and some other changes that we've got rolling in for you. So. Okay, so one of the issues that I was having with food is I fucking loved my meal plan. All my meals were phenomenal. And when I decided to go on the diet break, I just went from my 2,400-ish calories and I just increased my food every day up to about 3,200 to 3,400 calories. Same meals though, I just increased the amounts. So what ended up happening is when I reduced my amounts back down, I ended up saving food. So there was about 2 full meals that I would eat back to back in the evening. But then as I was measuring those out, I would be like, oh, but you know, this would be really good with here with this, or oh, add a little bit of granola, or I would add a little bit of peanut butter. And I, you know, for an extra 15 to 20 grams of oat flour fell in. I was like, ah, fuck it, it's fine. I'll just mix it up, doesn't matter. The problem is it does matter. And when I'm in that kind of like headspace, I feel like an addict. Like there's no control. I lose complete control over myself. And so throughout my 13 years of this process of figuring myself out and going through my fitness journey, I've learned when I get to the point that I can't control myself in the evening, I need to reduce carbohydrate intake past 5 p.m. This is one of the tricks that I've used multiple times over the years, where as long as I don't eat carbs, I don't get those cravings in the evenings. So what I'm actually trying this time, I changed it around. I'm doing an intermittent fasting, like feeding period, where I'm not eating any meals past 5 p.m. My first meal is dependent on my schedule for the day, but my final meal is always gonna be between 4:30 and 5. The important thing with that is what I changed my meals to, is I decided to go super back to the basics. I've got potatoes and chicken with plain Greek yogurt and ketchup. Plain Greek yogurt acts as like a sour cream, just so you guys know. That's a super plain meal, but I enjoy it because it's not hyper palatable, but it's still good and it serves a purpose. I still have the cream of rice every day before gym. That's my only sweet meal that I have. My breakfast stayed the same with the turkey bacon, egg whites, and hash browns. But the important change is my final meal of the day. And so what I have now is I've incorporated chicken, rice, soy sauce, and peanut butter. About half of my daily fats are in this one meal when it comes to the peanut butter. And what this does is, there's actually a multitude of things that are going on here. With the meal that is high in fats, what it's gonna do is it's gonna digest slower and it's gonna add to satiety for me. And what I find is after I have that, I have no crazy cravings for any kind of carbs or any food. I can deal with hunger. Hunger is fine. Hunger is a natural thing that you're going to experience when you're hungry, and I can push through hunger. But it's when that like addiction-like craving starts taking over me, that's just where I just become powerless. So this is how I'm gonna handle it. And for the time being, this is what's working. Yesterday was day 6 in a row of complete full adherence, doing intermittent fasting, S-spike period. This is looking good. I'm excited for this. Excited to see the last 8 weeks play out. It's gonna be good. Okay, perfect. So talk a little bit more with my meal plan and stuff now, because like I had a lot of brainstorming and I had to be completely honest with myself. And that's honestly, that's one of the biggest struggles that I find most people just have in general, is being brutally honest with yourself. Because like I knew that what I was doing could in turn be sacrificing my end goal, leading to regret down the road. And all of us have that. We all know, we all can sit there and spend 30 seconds and just look at the things that we do in our life, and we all know what we could change immediately that would tenfold our productivity or quality of life. But it's like this comfort that we don't want to give up. And you have to be able to be honest with yourself. And that was the thing. So like I had to be really brutally honest with myself. I knew that with how much I was enjoying my food, that I needed to take it away from that. And so with my intermittent fasting period, as I mentioned, like my first meal depends on the day. But one of the things I'm doing is for rest days, I'm actually doing a short feeding period, and I can rather start eating at 10 or 11, but then again, done at 5. And then instead of 4 meals on rest days, I dropped it down to 3. Now, the main reason I've done this actually is I have a completely new morning routine that I'm doing. I get up between 6 and 6:30. I take all my morning supplements, including the clenbuterol and the T3, and then I jump on the treadmill. I have one of the video games that I play. I'm watching this one streamer. He puts out a video every day, and so just for like the last week, I wake up, I go watch his video while I get steps. First thing done. I get 3,000 to 5,000 steps first thing in the morning. If I don't focus on food right away and I start my work, I have so much focus and I'm like in the zone and I'm ready to go. In the mornings when my mind is able to work the best, especially when it comes to meal plans, workout plans, being disciplined, being able to overcome my ADHD. My rest days are Thursdays and Sundays. Thursdays, I typically don't do any clients in the mornings, and so it's a perfect day for me to do any catch-up work that I have from the week. Like if I have extra workout plans or extra things from the gym that I'm working on, I get those done, extras on Thursdays in the mornings, and so I can postpone that first meal as late as I need to. And then once I have that first meal is where I take my first like mental break. I'll play a match on my game. Usually that's right before I go to pick up Kendrick. pick him up from school, then I'm back home, back to the gym later in the day, then I'm golden. Sundays are my day on the weekend in case I didn't get everything done on the Saturday. Sundays are my day for catch up, same thing. I wake up super early, I get in tons of steps. If I'm feeling good and I'm in the mood at that moment, what I'll do is I'll transition my standard steps on the treadmill to actual cardio on there, which is inclined walking, because it makes a big difference, trust me, drastic difference. And then yeah, I catch up on all my work, and as soon as I'm done all my work, or at least a sufficient amount of it, or I feel it's time for me to give myself a mental break, bam, I have my first meal, play a game, relax for a little bit, and then jump back into things. But then this way, I'm not food focused. I have a short time frame, just eat 3 meals, and then that's it. I have nothing else I gotta worry about with it, so I think it's gonna work out really well. I've done something similar aspect of this in the past, so it's gonna be good. I decided to go up in weight instead of just up in reps this week. Everything's feeling pretty good, so. And I know that in the coming weeks, my strength is gonna start to drop. I do have things prepared for that though. So firstly, adding in the trenbolone, the main goal behind that is, again, anti-catabolism. It's going to help with some gym performance as well. On top of that, not that it's guaranteed that I'm gonna implement it, but I did pick up some Anavar as well. And so if my strength really does start to drop drastically as we're getting closer in, as my food has to keep going down, then we implement it if we need to. And what that'll do is I'll add that to my pre-workout essentially, and it'll help me with gym performance, which when it comes to retaining muscle tissue, when you're in a calorie deficit, especially when you're trying to get up on stage, your best modality to keep that muscle tissue is intensity in the gym. And so, that's why my carbs are actually still decently high, and why I'm so dead set on making sure that my gym performance keeps up. That's why I wanted to drop the fatigue. It needed to be done. And so this way, I don't run the risk of losing as much muscle tissue. That's why, have you ever noticed, if you've ever done this or anybody around you has ever done this before, they just diet and they don't exercise, and they just look like a smaller version of how they looked before, and they don't really look fit now, they just are thin. So to your body, your muscle is very expensive, okay? Because the more muscle you have, the more calories your body's gonna burn on a day-to-day basis. That's the first factor. When you think about that and you start dieting, you're now giving your body less food. Your body's going to try to adapt to the stimulus of less food. In order for your body to try to be effective, it's going to get rid of whatever the body doesn't feel that it needs anymore. So when you're exercising, what you're doing is you're actually giving your body a stimulus, essentially saying, I need this tissue. I'm using this tissue, I need this tissue. If you don't give your body that stimulus while you're in that deficit, you're going to be losing a lot of your muscle tissue. These people that diet, I believe, what is it? I've heard studies have shown, blah, 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 say all that shit. Roughly 50% of the weight that you're losing when you just diet comes from muscle tissue. And if you're losing your muscle tissue, you're going backwards, which just lift some weights. Gotta exercise. Gotta keep your gym performance up. So super important. Oh, one thing too. Oh, I'm super fucking excited for this. Okay, so I am clearly a dad fucking through and through. There's no part of me that is not a fucking dad anymore. There's this one song that Kendrick and I, that's like our song. I'm not gonna spoil it now because it's coming, but it's like a heavier song, and him and I, every time that I play it, no matter where we are in the house, if he hears it, he runs into the room and he just starts headbanging. And so I get up and I headbang with him. And so we're sitting there headbanging all the time. I'm doing one of my posing routines with that song, and he's gonna be there in the crowd and he has no fucking idea. And it's gonna be amazing because I'm gonna look at him and I'm gonna point to him too while I'm up on stage. It's gonna be fucking great. I'm so excited for it. Like, he's just gonna love it and he's gonna just get up, he's gonna just start headbanging. It's gonna be amazing. He's gonna be out in the crowd, headbanging to the song. It's gonna be awesome. If you don't ever end up just randomly kneeling, being on your knees sometime during your workout, probably not doing it right. It doesn't have to be every workout, but should be, at least at one point, most workouts. You gotta kind of just be like, oh shit, just take a breather. Shoulders on fire though. It's good. It's a good workout. Really good sets. Pushed a lot of numbers. Feeling amazing. So quick recap. Food is back down. Feeling amazing though. Fatigue is low. 20 minutes of cardio a day, 10,000 steps. New morning routine. I'm being super fucking disciplined. Feeding period. Not eating past 5 p.m. New drugs. Well, just tren. And then increased T3 and clenbuterol, but that's it. That's actually a lot of things, but those haven't been all at once. Those are just what has accumulated over the last week in some, but it's good. Thanks for showing up. See you guys next week.